Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. We begin with an evolving bushfire situation on the northeast coast. A blaze at Lulworth has just been downgraded from an emergency warning to watch and act. Our reporter Garth Burley joins us live from Lulworth. Garth, what are conditions like at the moment?
Good evening, Joe. Well, as you can see behind me, it's really smoky, and residents were caught off guard by this fire, which flared up late this afternoon. The TFS is warning that the town of Lulworth will be put at high risk and it will be difficult to control. A number of fire crews have been battling on the fire front for around 3 weeks now. Now, locals are advised to take shelter immediately, with smoke and ash to make it difficult to breathe over the coming hours. And as we've just heard, the bushfire has been downgraded late this afternoon.
We have a developing story now with confirmation 2 cases of Q fever have been detected in abattoirs in the state's north. For more, we're joined by reporter Sean McComish. Sean, good evening. What do we know about these cases?
Joe, we know the first case of Q fever was detected in November. Authorities have remained tight-lipped on the details. But today the Meat Workers Union told us they are aware the case was at JBS in Longford. The union also claimed Q fever vaccinations ceased at the site in 2009. Now, after confirmation of another case in the state, they say they'll be writing to the company to bring back vaccinations. Although it's not clear where that second case was detected. We are unable to reach JBS for a comment this afternoon. Q fever causes flu-like symptoms such as aches and pains, but can also lead to long-term infections in the lungs and heart. The Health Department says it's extremely rare in Tasmania and only abattoir staff or those working with animals require vaccinations.
But for the general public, there is no need for Q fever. Unless you come in contact with infected livestock or infected animals, it's a very, very low risk for anyone in the wider public.
It's understood WorkSafe is also investigating. Joe?
Dark Mofo organisers are fuming. Its events are being targeted by scalpers, with one reseller offering tickets more than 3 times the original price. They're warning people if they buy the dodgy tickets, they might be denied entry.
Rehearsals underway for next month's Mofo Festival. These larger-than-life puppets, more than 3 metres high, are involved in one of the quirky shows.
As you can see, they're quite a force to be reckoned with, and they'll be the main performers in King Ubu.
But with preparations for the Summer Mofo and Winter Dark Mofo events underway, organisers are growing frustrated with ticket scalping. The latest example, Dark Mofo's headline show by folk artist Bon Iver.
Up to 300% surcharge put onto the original ticket price. So there's an ethical quandary there, because where's that money going to? It's not going to the artists, it's not going back to the festival.
Original ticket prices were $99 before the event sold out, but reseller Viagogo has them listed for up to $354, a 250% markup. Organisers warning it's a risky move to buy from a reseller.
Might not get in if the tickets are not legitimate. It would be a shame if people flew down to Tasmania and couldn't even get into the event.
Sparking concerns that more acts yet to be announced and future festivals could also fall prey.
Hopefully it's early enough for Dark Mofo and also for what we've seen with Monofoma that we get the word out. We won't have hundreds or thousands of people buying fraudulent tickets.
Dark Mofo runs its own official ticket reselling website. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
A Goodwood man charged in relation to the death of Jared Lee Turner has today pleaded not guilty in the Hobart Magistrates Court. The 22-year-old was found with a gunshot wound to his head on the side of a road at Richmond in April. Jason Clifford Gordon was arrested in October, charged with accessory after the fact of murder. The 32-year-old is set to appear in the Supreme Court for trial in February. A coroner has found a Tasmanian man died after a cannula was left in his arm at the Mersey Community Hospital. Jack Hedley Martin was admitted in November 2018 to remove a skin lesion. However, a cannula left in his arm later became infected, leading to Mr Martin's death just over a week later. Coroner Simon Cooper said the death was the result of a basic error, but he noted the health service had introduced changes following the tragedy. A total of 16 Tasmanian flights have been cancelled this weekend as Jetstar is targeted with industrial action from pilots and ground handlers. One Hobart flight has been cancelled tomorrow, another 10 Hobart and Launceston services on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. Jetstar has warned disruptions could continue through to next Friday. A two-car collision at Claremont this afternoon left one vehicle flipped onto its roof on the edge of a busy road. Emergency crews arrived on the main road scene just after 1 p.m. Police say the car flipped after it was hit from behind and drove up an embankment. It took around an hour to clear the site with no serious injuries reported. A two-car collision at Claremont this afternoon left one vehicle flipped onto its roof on the edge of a busy road. Emergency crews arrived on the main road scene just after 1 p.m. Police say the car flipped after it was hit from behind and drove up an embankment. It took around an hour to clear the site with no serious injuries reported. In the wake of the shock descent of Harris scarf, the state government says our online shopping habits are putting pressure on bricks and mortar retailers. More than 100 staff across the 5 Tasmanian stores are now facing an uncertain future, the latest casualties of a tough retail sector.
It's one of the busiest times of year for retailers, but for staff at Tasmania's 5 Harris scarf stores, their future remains a mystery. It was revealed yesterday the business has collapsed into administration with an intention to sell. Shoppers say it's sad news for a store with a long history in Tasmania.
It's got lovely variety, different clothes that you won't find the same clothes in another store.
A shop you come to with really good bargains and everything is quality.
I'd rather come in, and it's a social thing too.
There are currently 66 Harris scarf shops across Australia, including in Hobart, Moona, Launceston, Devonport and Ulverston. The announcement a surprise to staff.
It certainly was a shock to them. As far as, top management within Tasmania, they had no idea.
It's been promised trading will continue as normal over Christmas, the union saying its priority is the jobs and wages of Tasmania's more than 100 staff, with a lot of questions still unanswered.
Our members will be protected, that their jobs are ongoing for as long as possible, and whereby what is the future of the business.
The choices that Australians are making in terms of how they engage with their retail spend is putting pressure on bricks and mortar retailers.
Administrators say they're now making every effort to secure the future of the business. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
The true value of Tasmania's nature-based tourism is expected to be revealed in a new study. The Greens are questioning the motives of the report to be done by Deloitte's Access Economics. But industry and state government leaders say there's no data on the sector's worth.
This work has never been done before, and what we want to do is drill down and understand exactly what the economic impact is for Tasmania.
This report has been commissioned now because the Liberals are under so much pressure over projects like Lake Malbina, where there's been a secretive privatisation of a whole island.
The survey will cost $40,000 and is expected to take 12 weeks. The true value of Tasmania's nature-based tourism is expected to be revealed in a new study. The Greens are questioning the motives of the report to be done by Deloitte's Access Economics. But industry and state government leaders say there's no data on the sector's worth.
This work has never been done before, and what we want to do is drill down and understand exactly what the economic impact is for Tasmania.
This report has been commissioned now because the Liberals are under so much pressure over projects like Lake Malbina, where there's been a secretive privatisation of a whole island.
The survey will cost $40,000 and is expected to take 12 weeks. The head of Tasmania's Primary Industries Department has announced his resignation after 5 years in the role. John Withington made headlines last year after it was revealed he was in a relationship with his then Minister Sarah Courtenay, forcing a cabinet reshuffle. The Premier thanked Dr Withington for his leadership in improving the environment, biosecurity and resource sectors. He's now accepted a role with a federal government-backed research centre. A key figure in Tasmania's Franklin Dam campaign has died. Broadcaster David Bellamy passed away in England aged 86. The well-known television personality gave international prominence to the campaign to stop the Franklin Dam. He was arrested at the blockade in 1983. Bob Brown paid tribute to him, saying he was pivotal to one of the great environmental battles of our age. More funding for road upgrades, driverless buses and an increase in electric vehicles are part of the RACT's vision for the future of Tasmanian roads. The motoring body revealing its wish list for the next state budget. They're also calling for measures to help with cost of living pressures, including real-time fuel monitoring and public transport subsidies.
What we're hearing around public transport is the cost is a reason why people aren't using that transport. So if we can encourage people to get on, that means it's less vehicles on the roads and that will reduce the traffic congestion over time.
RACT says its submission is part of a 30-year mobility vision. A Tasmanian Sea Rescue service has taken to the water to test a new state-of-the-art piece of technology. An infrared camera is poised to become a valuable tool in locating missing persons and is the first of its kind in the region.
A new piece of armour in the fight to save lives on our waters.
It's a small gadget, but it's so valuable.
Tasmanian Sea Rescue now with the cutting-edge infrared camera at its fingertips.
It actually picks up the difference in heat. So if you get a heat difference of about 4 degrees, that'll show up on your screen.
They are monitoring what the camera on top of the cabin is picking up.
The $15,000 device is one of the first in northern Tasmania, allowing volunteers and police to speed up rescue efforts in near freezing waters before it's too late.
Hypothermia is the biggest problem that we've got when anyone's immersed in waters around the state of Tasmania. So if we can get them quickly, even minutes can save lives.
The camera has the ability to locate a person 450 metres away and small vessels at 1.2 kilometres on sunny days like today or even in pitch black conditions.
It just is much better at showing up objects in the water that shouldn't be there.
Volunteers say they received close to 30 calls for help in the last year alone, but are ready to debut their newest toy on the next rescue mission.
A device such as this, helping pick up a target quickly, is very important.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
With less than 3 weeks to go until 2020, preparations are beginning for New Year's Eve celebrations. No matter where you are, the year is sure to start off with a bang.
Just over 2 weeks out from the Taste of Tasmania, Princess Wharf 1 is being slowly transformed. Preparations are in full swing for the event, including its New Year's Eve celebrations.
There's been a lot of thought put into it, and we really think that the excitement levels will ramp up through the evening leading up to the fireworks.
Performers warming up for the 7-hour-long schedule, which has a 100% Tasmanian entertainment lineup.
So exciting to see that Hobart's whole culture and arts and everything is being showcased here, and really the whole next generation gets to kind of push through and do it all with us is really exciting.
A 12-hour free event is being held at Hobart's The Hanging Garden. There are no tickets, so it's first in, best dressed, with a maximum venue capacity of 1,500 people.
We'll have acoustic music, there'll be bands, there'll be DJs, all offering various vibes, I suppose. So we're just hoping to create some really great vibes in the whole precinct, a really happy and safe, fun space.
Organisers of Beerfest in Launceston say this year's event at Royal Park will be the best yet. With more than 40 food and drink stalls, entertainment, family-friendly activities and 2 fireworks displays.
A major headline artist is Art versus Science, so pretty excited to have them on board. They've got a great following here in Tasmania, so they're going to bring in the new year in great style.
Devonport will also celebrate with Skyfire, while Burnie's traditional sports carnival has been moved to New Year's Eve to combine with a waterfront party. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Designs have been released for a new museum and art gallery on the northwest coast. The $18 million development will bring together Burnie's museum and art gallery, which are currently in separate buildings. The Burnie City Council is hoping to receive $6.5 million in the next state budget to bring the concept to life. The federal government has already committed $5 million in funding.
Cricketers have switched from red to white ball for the upcoming Big Bash season with a practice match against the Auckland Aces. The race for spots is wide open, with 3 players fighting to replace Matthew Wade as opener. With Wade away on national duties, the doors ajar for Mac Wright, Caleb Jewell or Jake Doran to open the batting.
Whoever is in form and does well in the first couple of practice games and trains well over the next week, they'll get an opportunity up front.
Today was the job interview, a practice match against the Auckland Aces. Also offering up his CV, Afghan ace Qais Ahmed. Coach Adam Griffith is toying with the idea of playing multiple spinners this season.
He's up and about and he's looking forward to having the whole Big Bash this year, not just the back end like last year.
Key signing David Miller isn't here until the weekend, but the South African is earmarked for the middle order.
He fits our game plan very well. That's why we're really big on trying to get him, taking the game deep and having batters in at the end, and that's his style of cricket.
While the Kiwi team has floated the idea of joining the Big Bash.
You look at it and think about what you could do with that in terms of growing the sport, in terms of participation numbers, as well as the opportunities that it gives for the guys at the top end.
And his thoughts on the Trans-Tasman Test?
It's a tough initiation, I guess, to start in Perth on a pitch that is probably about the furthest away from New Zealand conditions that you can imagine.
The Hurricanes open their Big Bash season in a week.
Good evening. Most temperatures below average today, apart from Launceston's 23, which was slightly above normal. Hobart 19, Burnie 20 and Devonport 21. St Helens reached 22 degrees, Friendly Beaches 20, Lowhead, Ouse and Flinders Island all 18. Grove 17 today, Strawn and King Island 16. Patchy low cloud over the state, apart from some thin band of cloud over the northeast of Tasmania. More cloud to our west over the Bight, with bright thunderstorm cloud over northern WA, the Territory and far north Queensland. A trough has cloud cover over central Australia as well. Tomorrow a cold front moves our way, a high to the northwest, ridging over southern Australia. Troughs are still evident over the mainland. The winds west to northwesterly, 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the northeast and south. Lighter winds over the east coast. A strong wind warning is on between Stanley and St Helens Point and also from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Hobart a shower or two tomorrow, 21 degrees the top, 19 for Huonville. Possible shower for Campania, a top of 20. Launceston partly cloudy, 21 the high, 19 for Devonport and partly cloudy and 19 for Georgetown as well. Moving on to Burnie, tomorrow a shower or two and 17 degrees. Rain for Strawn, 15 the maximum. Wynyard a shower or two and 18 degrees. St Helens, partly cloudy and 22. Swansea the same and 19 the top for Port Arthur. UV extreme for most, very high for Hobart and Swansea. On Saturday, showers over the west, south and east, partly cloudy elsewhere. Showers for most on Sunday, but little over the north and east. And on Monday, mainly fine and partly cloudy with light winds. 41 in Perth tomorrow, sunny and 23 in Adelaide, a cloudy day in Melbourne and Sydney, possible storms for Brisbane and Darwin. Hobart right now 17 and partly cloudy, 19 in Launceston, Devonport 17 as well. And you know it's getting close to Christmas when Jo Palmer starts to get all her Christmas cards sent to the station. Make sure you send them in really early, folks, because there's a bucket load for us to get through. If not, just post them on our 7Tas Facebook page. Jo.
Thank you very much. All right, that's all from the team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We'll see you a little later. Bye-bye.